Right then, let's do some trading. So I'm using a little tool called Naked Markets. So this is a backtesting tool. This is a paid tool. It cost me about 280 quid or 300 quid or something like that. Basically what it does is it imports the history, the tick data from the brokers, and it includes real spread, which there's so many testers out there that don't. So when news events happen or when the market closes, around the New York close, the spread will go bigger. In other words, you have the real spread that was actually happening at the time. So it's a really, really good bit of kit. You can see it's also going to add up all of my trades and give me all the stats that I need. We'll be able to see floating profit, we'll be able to see drawdown, you can see your open positions, your pending orders, account history, news events. We can even have it draw the news events on the chart, and I might do that at some point in this test. So basically this is going to give us everything that we need to do some really, really accurate testing. Let's have a look at what I've written on the chart, okay? So the process then to trade is obviously, first of all, we're going to start with the higher time frame bias. We're going to look at a 1 hour or a daily and work out where we think it's going to go. Then, because we're on the Dow Jones, we're going to look to cross a 250 point zone. So you can see I've marked on the 250 levels, and we know that it moves about 350 points a day, which means on the average day, it's probably going to get from one of these lines to the next, okay? So it's going to cross a full zone. We just don't know the direction yet. We also need to be aware of news events. We know that news events are what moves the markets. As I said, this is actually, it's down here. We have a calendar, and I can also get it to draw the events on the chart, which I'll do in a sec. Then we need to be aware of sessions. So on the US 30, when the New York Stock Exchange opens during the US session, there's usually a spike, usually something like this, okay? Whichever way the market has been going, it tends to reverse. So if on the London session, the market's been going up, when New York opens, it tends to go down. Doesn't mean that's the direction it's going to go for the rest of the day, but you tend to get a reversal. So that's one more thing that we need to be aware of. We need to keep our eye on the actual time. Okay, let's get rid of this. And what we'll do is we'll start trading. In fact, no, we won't. What we'll do is we'll quickly check the news. If I just go on to settings and go on to events, draw them on the chart, and you can see, look, it's actually drawn news events on the chart now, and we don't appear to have a news event until this point here. So we've got let me just see if I can stick a line on. What I prefer to do is just draw the event on, right? So we've got a blue line. In fact, let's make that red. We'll make this red because it's a news event. Because what I've noticed is, and this is annoying, the chart goes really dull when you put the news events on. Like, you'll see it actually change. If I go back on my settings, events, watch the color of the candles when I take this off. You see how they go like a nicer color? That's just my OCD, it just bugs me. Anyway, so we've got the news event marked on. We also need to keep an eye on the time. Let me put that back to there. So let's just have a look. I think, based on what I can see on the 1 hour, I would say price is going to drop. I would say price is going to drop. Look, price is pushed up from the MA. You can see it's been bouncing, but it's not really been getting away from it. And we have some indecision candles here. We've now got a bearish engulfing. Price is going to drop at least down to this level. If it gets through this break and retest, I reckon it's going to cross this whole zone. Doesn't mean it's going to do it in this current day, but I think that's where price is heading. So this is my bias. My bias is to sell. I am going to sell at least until I'm convinced on the 1 hour that I was wrong and it's going to go the other way. So for now, I'm looking for sell trades. Let me drop down to the 5 minute. And what we obviously need to do then is, first of all, let's have a look at the current time. Let me change this to cross. So it's currently 22:55, okay, which means the market is shut. So obviously I can't trade. What I need to do, there we are, it's just opened. Look at it's gapped up. Now for me, in the UK, I'm in bed, so I can't trade any of this. I need to get to about 7 o'clock in the morning, which is when I wake up and start trading. So that's 3 o'clock. 4 o'clock, my God, my finger is going to drop off. 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. In fact, let me draw a line on at 7. That's probably the easiest. There, and we'll color this one. Oops, we'll color this one blue. Okay, so this is my start point. Let's have a nice blue. There we go. So that's where I can start trading. Easy. Put this back to an arrow. Now what I'm going to do is, I can find it, scrunch up. I need to get my 50-point levels on, so I'm going to quickly grab this and I'm going to stretch this between the two, try and get it nice and accurate. There we go. Good to go. First of all, I can see we have a couple of highs here. Now remember, I'm looking to sell. Price is currently between this level and this level. So I'm going to either sell if price moves up to this level, I'm going to put a sell on. If price moves down to this level, I probably won't put a sell on. Why? Because it's a 39,000 round number. This is a huge round number, and as you can see, it tends to cause a little bounce. So with a round number, I want it to break. I want price to break through it, then come back to it and retest it from the underside, and then I will sell. So if price goes to this level, I'll sell straight away. If price goes to this level, I'll wait for it to break, retest, and then I will sell. If price pops up to these highs, I'll definitely take a sell again from here. And then we have the 50 just above, so I would definitely sell again from here. So right now, I think a sell trade is a pretty safe bet, okay? The 1 hour, my bias told me it's bearish, I'm going to sell. And looking at the 5 minute, the market's about to open, there's probably going to be some kind of spike. So I'm happy to sell from here. Let's zoom in a little bit so we can see the actual candles now that we know the plan. What I'm going to do is get a pending order on, so pending. And I want a sell limit, and I want to stick it there with a TP of 50 points. Easy. Right, let's go one candle at a time and see what happens. I'm either going to be right or I'm going to be wrong. So sideways so far. UK hasn't properly woke up by the look of it. What is price going to do? So it's dropping down to the level, and if it does, I think it's probably going to bounce. Well, that was unlucky. I thought it was going to trigger us in then. Okay, here we go. Price has broken through the round number. Let me get rid of this pending so we can see this clearly. Remove pending. Price has broken the 39,000 round number, and it looks like it's trying to retest. It's pushing back up to retest. So this is what I wanted to see. Let me just alter my, get a little bit more accurate. This is what I wanted. Okay, here's what I'm going to do then. I'm going to stick on a pending sell at this one, and I want it right there, with a TP of 50. And I'm either going to be right or I'm going to be wrong. This is what most people get really hung up on is, you know, the direction. The most questions I get is, how do you choose your direction? How do you know where it's going to go? I don't know where it's going to go. That's the whole point of this strategy. I'm either going to be right or I'm going to be wrong. But with this strategy, you can make money even when you're wrong. That is literally the whole point of it. So within this test, I'm pretty sure sometimes I'll be right and sometimes I'll be wrong. So you're going to see how I manage it when I'm wrong. When I'm right, there's nothing to do. It just hits your TP and you make money. There's nothing to do. So let's have a look and see. Price is pushed up. You saw it's just triggered us in. This looks like a really good retest. What I want price to do now is obviously drop to my TP. Just because that's what I want price to do doesn't mean that's what is going to happen. The market does what it wants. So I just need to accept that and obviously deal with it if it does something else. So right now we're below the level. This is looking good. It's dropping. It's dropping. Boom. TP. Job done. That's it. So this is an easy one. Now, we've currently dropped down into a new, if you have a look, currently dropped down into a new zone. So I now need to add another fib, which is what I'll do now. I'll grab the fib and stretch it from here down to here. Let me fine tune that a little. Perfect. Okay. So we now have a new set of lines to trade from. So what's the plan now? Well, we've broken into this zone. We need to make a decision. I would say that price is obviously either going to drop, in which case I want to put a sell on now, or it's going to push back up and retest, in which case I want to sell from here. So that's really the only decision I have to make now is, do I want to sell right away, or do I want to wait for a little pullback and sell again? What I'll do is I'll stick in fact, it's right on the line. Let's just sell right away. Let's do an instant order. Let's do a sell. And if I'm wrong, I'll just deal with it. So sell, there we go. I forgot to set my TP. I do that all the time. I'm terrible for not setting TPs. Modify order. And 50. Whoops, not 40. 50. There we go. And that's it, job done. What happens if I'm wrong? If price pushes up, I'm going to sell again from this level. Okay, it's a really strong level. It's the 39,000. So let's sort of see what happens. I'm either going to be right or wrong. Bang, there we go, another winner. So it's looking good so far. Now then, let's just keep an eye on the time, because I've just noticed that says 2 o'clock. Now at 2:30, the US opens. It's a session change. And remember what I said at the start of this video? This is the London session. If the market has been dropping in the London session, you very often get a reversal. Now at 2:30, when the New York market opens, you can get a big reaction. It can literally just spike in one candle. Now it might go in our favor. If I put a sell trade on, it might spike down and get us across the whole zone and job done. But it could go against us. So you have to be a little bit wary because some things are lining up now. It's nearly the session change and price is nearly at the 50%. Remember, price does not move in a straight line forever. If I just get I think this is the only drawing tool I've got. Price does not move in a straight line forever. It zigzags, okay? It pulls back. That is a horrible color. Let me change that to a color you can actually see. Let's make it red. Okay, price moves in zigzags. We're at a point on the chart where price is likely to form a reversal from, and that's what creates these little zigzags in price, okay? So we need to be aware of that. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to wait patiently for the half two to open. The market will just go nuts in one direction or the other, and then I'll make a decision. If it spikes up to this big, strong 1,000 pip round number, I'll probably take a sell from here. If it spikes all the way down to this one, I'll probably wait for some kind of bounce and then I'll sell again from one of these levels. Okay, so I'm being aware of the session change. In fact, let me mark it on because it could happen at any minute. I don't know if there's a slight time difference. So we're 14:30. I think there is a time difference between, actually, yeah, this is GMT plus 2. So it is at the wrong time. It's going to be 15:30. It's going to be there. So somewhere around here, I would expect price to do something. So I'm just going to calmly, patiently sort of wait, see what happens. Boom, there we go. Let me delete this line. Look at that. So that's the US session opening. So it could have gone either way. It's gone up. It's wicked really hard from the 39,000. What do I want to do? Well, I want to stick to the plan. It hasn't broken this level. I still want to sell. So here's what I'm going to do. Price is pretty close to this level here. I'm going to stick a sell trade on and I'm going to put a pending sell here just in case it does continue to push up. So let's go to trading. Let's do an instant sell. So we're going to sell right away with a TP of 50 and we'll just tweak this to that level. There we go. And then I'll also put on a pending sell limit because remember, I have no reason to change my bias yet. I still think price is going to go down. And on that one, I'm not going to set a TP. So let's just see what happens from here. Okay, it looks like it is going to trigger in. Okay, so it's triggered us in that one. What's going to happen next? Indecision candle. We are above this level, okay? Price could now just start to respect this level. I'll just zoom back. And it could end up back at these highs. That's not a massive concern. It's only a couple of levels higher. I can choose not to add here and to put another one on here. For now, let's just see what it does. Okay, more indecision, more indecision. Price is starting to go back down. We're back beneath the level. So this is sort of what I was hoping for. No, we're back above. So we're chopping sideways at the level. This is what I mean about price retracing itself all the time. You get so many opportunities. Let's just have a look. We're currently in a profit of 2%. Even though I thought price was going to drop and it really hasn't, it's kind of gone sideways. I could close both these trades now at a profit if I want to. Okay, that is the power of this strategy. It's very forgiving. So right now we're in a profit. I personally think this is going to drop. So for now, I'm just going to hold it. I'm going to hold it and see if I can get to TP on this one. I could, if I wanted to, close just one of the trades. I might live to regret this decision. It's going back up again. But I'm pretty confident in my initial analysis. Right, so it's gone back up. We're now in a floating drawdown of about 14%, which is not terrible. We've got a profit of 10% banked already. Let's have a look to the left. There is a little bit of a level here. I've got a feeling this is going to stretch up and make it to here. I'm just looking at it. I've got a feeling, or possibly to the 50. I'm going to skip this level and I'm going to put another trade on here. So I'm going to go pending order, sell limit, and I'm going to stick that there like that. Okay. Now, what I could do is I'm really confident that this level is going to hold. I could actually enter a larger trade size, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep it the same because I'm just going to sort of show you that you don't need to. You don't need to do stuff like that a lot of the time, especially not at this point. There's no reason to. Let's see what price does. So it is dropping. If I had entered a trade at this level, price has dropped. I could now close all three. Okay, I would now be able to do that. As it is, price is looking like it's going to drop anyway. We're back beneath this level. Oh no, here we go. Are we going to trigger in? So you see, even then I thought it was going to drop and it's popped up. The price is very, very random in the short term. Okay, so price is very random in the short term. However, my bias hasn't changed. It's currently 10 o'clock at night.